Alright guys, this was a problem with putting a 75-ton cylinder on this beam. As you can see, if I can get it there, we kind of buckled it. And we kind of buckled everything else. Although she splits good, you can see she's got a little, she's bent that way, a little side loading. Problems we get with the wings is they bend a lot. We have to straighten them back out. Those are 1-inch thick steel. The welds hold good, but that mild steel is just too flexible for this much tonnage. We haven't had one snap off, but as you can see, they get pretty well bent up. And that's after about 10 cords of wood right there. Our next design is going to be a little different. I've had a lot of suggestions to cut the wings smaller, thicker, but this is what we went with because we're splitting such big stuff. We're actually cutting it instead of splitting it. So when we get into those big knots, our steel kind of plays around like spaghetti. Even though we have relief, you know, we relieved our, we've got back relief here and forward relief here. We're still flopping around inside. Then you can tell we cut some out to avoid pinching, but it's just all bent up. And our welding, you know, we've thrown the weld to it. Added some spreaders here. We've got some spreaders under here to help pushing this out a little bit. A lot of reinforcement, but the beam was just not thick enough. And if you can tell, this right here has a bow in it. So even though we keep them really sharp, we sharpen them because we're cutting most of our wood. 1 inch thick in this design with this length just wasn't optimal. Although it's worked great for years. And that beam, it's really just too light. That's a 3/8 inch beam, 8x8. The faceplate has done good. No warpage at all in the faceplate over the years. Of course, that's 3/4 inch thick steel. And our cylinder, which is an 8-inch Parker, 30-inch stroke, 3000 psi, trundle mount. We had to kind of cobble that up so it'd hold on the beam, but that's looks rusty, but it hasn't cracked at all. And the back side of the beam has actually done good. There's been no twisting or deformation of the back side of the beam. It's just been the twist in the head. And the other problem we get, when the head starts twisting, our bolts break. We were running 5 on each side, 1/2 inch, grade 8. Then we went, they were popping. Then we went 1/2 inch, grade 5. And then we put 3/4 inch, grade 5s in the back 2. They popped too. So we got to do a little thinking on how we're going to redesign holding this slide on. Because if you get a little side load, like say there's a big knot on one side, that side loads it, it pops those bolts and they go flying up in the sky. So that was end of today's work right there. But overall, we can process a lot of wood with it. I guess you would call this a homemade log splitter 1.0. 2.0 is going to be this winter. We're going to name it the Kraken, and it's going to be a bit bigger and a bit more robust than this one. A lot of the logs we're getting in here are 4 foot to 6 foot diameter, and we've got to be able to handle that a little more efficiently.